Hey, welcome to DCTP.tv from the Republica 2014. My name is Philip Banse, and my next guest are. I start with the woman, Faith Bosworth. Welcome, and John Peters. Welcome to the program. You are the Peng collective. All right. Thanks for coming. You were the highlight of yesterday, second day of Republica, in my opinion, and you did a Google presentation. You impersonated Google. Yeah. I don't know. You had a perfect website, a professional website, and you said, "Well, we are Google. We present 3 new products." What did you do on stage? Explain it, please, for those who haven't seen it.
Do you want to start?
Right. So basically, we were Gloria Spindle and Paul von Riebeck representing Google Nest, which is a new initiative from Google, a series of 4 products, and it's basically Google's response to the world's concerns around data collection.
And how did you come up with the idea?
It was a combination of things. Both of us are kind of working on the periphery of these topics already, and I think we're engaged already with this issue of surveillance. I think as a lot of the world is right now. And I actually was inspired by Evgeny Morozov, by a talk that he gave, because he's always kind of pointing out the future and saying we should really be thinking about what's coming. And I started to kind of, with John, we started to brainstorm about this possible dystopian future of Google's data collection policies.
So, and how did you prepare for this talk?
A lot of coffee, a lot of pizza, a lot of like.
Did you rehearse your speech?
Oh yeah.
It
was a lot of.
It was scripted, yeah.
Yeah, it was scripted, and the best part were those who were improvised, I think. But it was a lot of preparation, a lot of.
How many days, weeks have you prepared it?
Like 3 days.
Well, I mean, just the presentation itself, like that's one thing, but then it was just everything around it, like having the whole team of people who helps us execute this, because it had to be very slick and seamless. Not only the presentation, it was the coordination of the website, of course. And then, as you know, we had some collaborators who came out and spoke against us, etc. So we really try to engineer a fake reality.
And what products did you introduce? What fake products?
So So first of all, we had Google Trust, which is the flagship product of Google's future. Basically, the idea is to drag out and harvest even more data from the users, because what Google Trust offers is an insurance. So instead of saying we will finally encrypt everything and we will try to actually tackle the problems we have right now, we kind of just played it the way as Google might really think that, well, we just insure you and you keep on giving us more data.
So trust us and everything
trust
will be fine.
us and you just trust us and everything's going to be fine.
The second product was Google B?
No, Google Hug. So
Google Hug, right. Yeah.
Google Hug is an application which knows where you are and knows your emotional status at any given time, and then it figures out what needs you have, like maybe in terms of human interaction, because we realize that digital interaction is the main way that we're interacting with people at the moment, and that's a problem for some people. So Google Hug basically figures out what you need. Maybe it's a cup of coffee or just talking to someone, and then they match you with someone else in your vicinity who has the same needs that you do.
And the last one is Google B, right?
No.
There are 4.
Four, really? Yeah. So okay, B.
So Google B, it's a drone. It's a drone coming in. You know, we had actually last moment we found someone who could like dive with a drone onto stage, and a super professional guy. So he offered this to us, and he came with his drone, and this is Google B, which is basically the idea to have a private drone, and everyone can afford it, and you know, it's super handy because you can film yourself wherever you are. You can find free parking lots. There's actually a really nice other hoax called gofordrones.com, I think, which is like so well done if you just look at it. So it's the idea to show how creepy you can get. And
surveillance technology, yeah.
And this is what, like, you know, enterprise like Google do. And the last one, you want to?
The last one was Google Buy, which it's basically Google harvesting. Going when you die, Google goes through all of your information, including your browsing history, all your contacts, all your email communications, etc. And it provides an online memorial to you. It finds all the best moments of your life, photos, your favorite music, quotations from your emails, and it packages them all together in a really nice Google profile for you. And you can share it with your friends, and it lives on online when people search for your name, etc.
And rehearsing the speech, I mean, you had to really analyze how does the Google talk, right? How does the Google keynote? What are the specifics?
When you always talk with the hands
Yeah,
like
you always
that.
talk with the hands. You must send out sunbeams to the audience.
Yes.
And of course, it's a lot of belief in your product. Like your product is, it's going to change the world. Every product of Google's will change the world, and it's what everyone wants and needs, and they know because they're constantly examining your data.
And dramatic pauses.
A lot of dramatic pauses. Oh, really owning the stage, walking around.
Trying to lean forward.
Lean back.
But I have to say, I was really, really, really excited. So I didn't, it wasn't perfect, of course, like far away to be perfect.
I think we have some work to do on our Google personalities. Like, it's going to take some time.
That was my next question. What was the aim? Was it really to trick everybody in the Saal 1 into we are Google?
No.
But what was the aim?
Well, yeah.
I think we knew that at a conference like this, we wouldn't really be. It's not like a yes man thing. We wouldn't really be able to hoax everyone because people here are politically engaged, and also, I mean, Jean himself is quite famous in Berlin, I think, for his last action, Slam Shell, which a lot of people saw, the last Peng action. And people know me as well for working on internet rights, and so. We kind of knew that we wouldn't be able to hoax everyone, but the idea really was actually just to create confusion as much as possible. Like, we wanted to have some people thinking, like, is this real? And other people fighting against and saying, no, it's a hoax. And then, but then looking at things like the Pirate Party coming out and saying, oh, what is Google doing? So we wanted to create confusion because this creates discussion and debate.
But some funny things happened anyway. So the Linkspartei and the Piratenpartei, they issued already before your talk, right?
That was engineered by us.
Ah, that was engineered.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
There was like this, and then Digital Courage and Digitale Gesellschaft. It was actually, it was not the Linkspartei itself and the party themselves, but people.
Yeah,
like
individuals.
Jan Philipp Albrecht and so on. And like, what I think is especially impressive in this is, like, first of all, okay, this has never happened, that someone does a hoax and official parties are playing along, because this, I think, needs a lot of courage, like being the spokesperson for a party and playing a fake, because I'm sure they still today have to fight, people saying, why did you do this? Like, why did you do this stupid action? And
was it complicated to convince them?
No. It was actually, they were really keen about it, and they were really open to the idea.
And who was part of this? So Linkspartei, Piratenpartei,
and
who else? Jan Philipp Albrecht, a member of European Parliament for the Green Party. Who else?
Digital Courage, Digitale
Digitale Gesellschaft, NGOs working for digital civil rights.
And then we asked others, but we had like so little time that many of them were saying, well, I will have to talk to the board, we have to check this first, and it's a great idea, we'd love to play that, but...
And the Republica people were involved also, the organizers?
They knew, they supported us,
They supported you. And how was your media strategy? Because it's a little bit complicated, because I think you would have to involve some journalists, but of course not all. How was your media strategy?
That's the way we did it, exactly. You just say it. It's like, basically it's like you
involve some, and you put everyone into compartments, right? Like, you involve some, and then you have other ones who find out at the last minute.
I'm just thinking, because the question is, okay, first of all, you have to get the contact to them. You have to know them. We didn't know the two journalists who were involved, which were from Zeit and Spiegel.
Yeah.
They were the only two who knew before, like anyone. And basically, I just tweeted them, and I told them the story in a line, like, if you're interested to know, we are doing, and then they call back and say, wow, that's a great story, that's a great idea. We're interested.
There was credibility though as well, I think, from the Slam Shell action, right? Like, that got a lot of media attention, and they knew, I think they felt like they could trust that this would be well done, at least.
I'm just wondering, like, if now people are wondering, like, I want to do this as well, and you just have an idea, which is, your boss told you should campaign for whatever, and you just call him and say, look, I have this idea, they might say, well, like, good luck.
Yeah.
And we were lucky to have this, actually, a nice story that is interesting for them.
Okay. Good. Did you contact Google in advance? No.
No.
Okay.
But they knew.
How?
They saw the Republica program.
Okay,
I don't know. Maybe they analyzed our
your
emails,
emails, right?
communications.
Maybe.
Not that we're using Gmail.
Okay, but they
obviously.
were reading the program, of course, and they said in advance already, right? This is a hoax.
Well, I think they called the people here from the Republica and they said like, okay, we really appreciate liberty of art.
Yes.
But what are they gonna do exactly? And then the people from Republica, as I think, I wasn't there, so I don't really know. But I think they said, well, we don't know what they're doing exactly because we didn't tell them, and we just said we got to do something really nice.
And you said, well, it wasn't really the plan to get them all into the hoax and to trick them all into thinking you are Google. But what would have you done differently if you wanted to trick them? Maybe for those who watched it and said, well, it's a great idea, I'd like to do it myself, but then the yes man style, so everyone really believes it.
Right.
What do you have to do differently? Because I myself saw it and I thought, wow, it's so fucking difficult to really get everyone to think this is the real thing.
Oh yeah.
Because
it's 2 words and you might screw it up.
Yeah. I think it would take a lot more. It would take a lot more studying and testing on different people, and also, I mean, we couldn't have had Jan-Josef Liefers in the audience, for example. Like that's too obvious, right? Like that it's rigged.
Yeah.
So these kind of things, but those are the kind of things that we wanted to create a spectacle, and we wanted to actually, I think we wanted to entertain people at Republica as well. So we had those things because for that reason.
And what do you think is the function of those hoaxes? I mean, you all have certain political aims, and so what do you think is the function of those media hacks?
Well, I think it's different. I mean, I think one thing is obviously getting a lot of media attention for your issue.
One topic, right?
For campaigners, like it's really, campaigners get really stuck and they're working on their issue for years and no one's listening. And this is like one way that you can just get loads of attention and you can push your messages, right? And then I think another thing is to mobilize people as well, because people get really excited about something like this and they want to be part of something, and it's much more exciting to be involved in something like this. Tweeting, as if you tweeting this augmented reality, participating in this, rather than clicking on a Ava's petition or something like this.
Yeah. I think it's for me. It's as well really experimenting. It's trying to find out what are new ways of communication and. You can take guerrilla communication is really 90s. It's nothing new. Actually, I think, the women's movement in 1910 already did it. Like, it's nothing really like super new. But you can still try out what happens. And nowadays, like identity theft is something which is quite common. And then you can think like, how can you impersonate someone, and not as a identity theft in a bad way, but to try to create really question marks. And the speciality about playing that way is that you don't tell the people what to think, but you make them think and then take a stand. And you don't tell them you should think that way, which they won't do anyway.
Exactly.
But
I think we've been successful in that to a degree. Like people have definitely, I've seen so many tweets that say, "Wow, this is scary because it's so possible." A lot of these products, right?
Google-Hoax and Google Now are not so far away from each other.
Exactly, and I was just chatting to someone yesterday who from Privacy International actually, and he was saying that he really liked it because it was taking what Google's already doing now, and then it was just turning the temperature up 3 degrees. It wasn't going crazy. It was just this little push.
Okay.
So that people felt well, that's possible. Like Google Buy is very possible. I feel it's one of the ones that I'm just oh, that's coming.
And that was our biggest fear, right? That people would say well, this is a hoax, but it's not too far. It's not too funny because it's actually, it's kind of could happen tomorrow, and we felt oh gosh, will it work? Because maybe many people will think, well, that's great. I want to have it.
I want Google Buy.
And what have you learned? What are the lessons learned?
Well, it just happened yesterday, so
we haven't had time to.
Have you seen it on video already?
Yeah, I saw it this morning.
And
yesterday evening I looked at it a little bit. It's on the Republica stream, and we have our own version with we had a few of our own cameras. We will pull up because the drone, for example, I think you can't really see it on the other one that well.
But some preliminary conclusions and findings.
So, okay, yeah.
I mean, I think definitely one is that we would work way more on the performance, practice with a real stage, because that's actually quite difficult to pull that off. We would do that, I think.
I'd like to have, in a way, I really wish to have a bigger team of people. Wait, there's something loud passing by.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's very noisy, but you won't hear it on the microphone.
Okay, hear it. I'd really like to have a bigger team, and you know that right now, I'd love to say, okay, guys, take off. You know, it now. You know what we could do now with it. It's like all over. It's like in the U.S. and Forbes. It's like Turkey, like Great Britain. Everyone is like talking about it, and people really want to know what is this. So now you could go a few steps further. And I mean, we'll think about how we continue and all, but if you would have a team of, let's say, 10 people who all like are very professional in press and in law and in playing our Peng collective game, working with us on eye level would be great.
And how are you inspired by yes men, for example?
They're colleagues, they're friends, they're great. They're doing such a good work.
Yeah, really good.
I was always
admire.
Yeah, it was like, what should I say? They took a lot of opportunities. What I like about them is that they're quite punk. They're not those like creepy, slick people who are so clever doing clever things, but they're actually like, we've been drinking with them yesterday, and Mike is such a nice person, and he's like so funny. And afterwards, he came to us and said like, hey, we need to film now. We need to make a video with you. Like, how do you feel afterwards? And really, like, you shouldn't lose that moment. Like, come with me now. Let's make a video how it was. And we've been like, okay, we just like this, that, and
maybe that's one thing that we learned as well, that we've never really focused on the kind of documenting the process, and people are really interested in this. People want to know, how did you do it, and then they want to get access to you actually before you're going on stage, after you're going on stage, your reflections, like all this kind of thing. People that like this behind the scenes look. And Mike was actually chatting to us about that.
Yeah, but you also need people for this to do, right? And you have so much to do. The other thing I wonder is, okay, you worked obviously on your presentation on stage. You worked on you did a website, okay? But how much work do you have to put in your persona, your fake persona? Like, okay, you obviously used false names, but you didn't disguise yourself like with beards or anything. Do you have to set up false Twitter accounts that have a history? Do you have to start now tweeting with a certain Twitter account to make it feasible?
It really
in a year or so.
I think it depends.
Yeah, it really depends
what you're trying to do.
Like, if you really want to do a hack that is going very far, and where, like, for example, the slam shell thing, the last action we impersonated. Basically, we played being a student who is inventing a car that is cleaning the air instead of polluting it, and Shell loved this idea and invited us to perform for them at a PR show. With Bergen Marsteller actually, and which is like a very evil PR company, which was working for Pinochet and others. However, we went there.
And you proposed it to Shell, or?
To Bergen Marsteller, their PR agency.
Okay.
And
well, it's like it's an open call, and you just it's for students, and Jean pretended to be a student with this like exciting idea to tackle climate change.
And so we went there. We had this huge machine, and we tried.
As Jean Peters, or
no, Paul van Ribbeck. I just used Paul van Ribbeck. And but with my look and everything, and they could have found out. They could have really. There were many moments which were awkward, and they didn't, because they didn't believe something like this would happen. But still, there we were much more quiet. Like, for example, now we just used again Paul van Ribbeck. So anyone who was in the audience and looking for Paul van Ribbeck online directly saw like, oh, that's him. I can do. Oh, he's from Slam Shell. He already pranked Shell. So, oh, look. You know, this happened actually. People were sitting there and like.
And what happened? Let's talk about a little bit, a couple of minutes about the Shell event. What happened then? So you applied for?
Yeah, well, so we constructed a machine, and we went on stage of the Shell thing.
And where was it?
In Berlin, and Tempodrome. It's an event place.
How many viewers? How many participants?
200-300.
Yeah, 300. And then how many people were on stage? presenting the ideas? Like 6?
Oh yeah, 6. And out of the
6.
6, we were not the only ones actually. There were others pranking them, which was
Really?
really
Yes,
Really?
there were
Yeah.
3.
Really? And
3
they
in
didn't
total.
They didn't know of each
No.
other.
And it was amazing because the scheduling was such that it went 1, 2, and then Jean, and his was the biggest.
Yeah,
And it was amazing because it was just like these people coming up and like doing presentations that were obviously ironic or criticizing Shell, and then he came on and he did this this machine exploded with oil all over the stage, and it was just like the finale. It was amazing.
Right. So basically, I went on stage and we had this fancy machine, and we were like, okay, now, and there were already 2 pranks, and Shell was like, oh gosh, in Berlin there's so many prankers, and okay, now finally Paul von Ribbeck is coming with a super machine, and we brought it on stage, and we're like, okay, yeah, la la la,
It's
and
cleaning the air.
yeah, exactly, and then we put it on, and it was like poof, shooting out oil, like it was fake oil, but it looked like, and like the whole stage was full of oil, like they bought like professors from university to say we love Shell. It was so creepy and stupid from this professor at TU Dresden to play this stupid role for money, saying I love Shell, and everyone was like, everything was full of oil, and it was funny.
But this is also some frightening thing that it's so easy to prank them, right?
Yeah.
And that's what the yes man told me.
Yeah.
Like, well, we don't have to do anything actually. They don't
It's
Google
really
us.
easy, yeah.
They don't Google people.
But yes and no. On the other hand, like for example, I don't think I could have pranked you, because I would have felt bad about it. And this is very important. When I know like the Republica people, I couldn't have really pranked them because I like them. Like I could have done it, or when I lie to Faith, after 1 second I have to say, oh, that was a joke, because I can't keep it emotionally. And no, sorry, that was too much. But like, what I mean is, I tried to go to a concert, and I said like, oh, I should be on the list and something, and I felt how I was sweating because it was not legitimate. I felt it's really stupid to do this. And when you do something and you think it's legitimate, like pranking Shell or pranking Google, because they do a lot of shit, then you can keep it. And it's so easy to lie on the phone because you do it for a good cause,
Yeah.
In a way, like this is what happened to the back, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so you obviously don't want to talk about your next projects. No.
there's a lot to come.
We're working on building out Google Nest, adding some new products.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
And we want to buy off all other little companies.
Okay. Thumbs up.
Yeah.
Cool, thanks.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank
It was
you.
very fun.
Cool.
Wish you all the best
Thank
for
you.
your next projects. Thanks very much for coming.
Yeah, thank
Wait.
you.
Yeah.
I really want to press
Yeah.
that on this project we did, and any project we did,
Go ahead.
there was like so many
Many people
great
involved.
people involved. Like Hannes Böttger, who did the website, like wow. And then Don Ludwig, who did, there's Christoph. All those people, they did graphics, they did like screen design, and we had like the drone people, the photographers, the camera team. Wow.
Yeah.
How many all in all?
Minimum 20 people.
25,
20 people.
Yeah.
I think that would be one other advice for anyone who wants to do these things. You can't do it alone. Like you need to collaborate, and you need to bring in as many different skills as you can. There's no way that like 2 people could do this.
Can drive this
You wouldn't be able to have enough skills to be able to cover all the things that are needed. It's like, project management, press liaison, it's graphic design, it's logistics, it's web development.
And we have to say thanks because they all did it for free, and because we don't have any money, right?
Yeah.
So
But people get excited. They want to be involved.
Yeah.
Are there
driven.
any prank agencies like you want to do a prank? You want to do a hoax? Well,
Well,
let's do it.
that's
Just
us.
call us. 150 Twitter accounts, personas, who was
All right.
like really
they're
legit.
we know how to do it at least,
Yeah.
and I'm sure in 5 years any news agency, because it's getting so mainstream, any news agency will know much more about how it works.
Yeah. It will get harder, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully so.
No, well, it will be also like getting more usual, and
Then we have to find
Nike
new
will
ways
do it.
then to
Yeah.
change that. Yeah.
I'm sure like Nike will do it, and all those big, they will do it. Like
It will get like PR stunt
Sure.
type of thing.
Yeah.
Sure.
Of course.
I know. It's boring. So then we will research for something new.
Okay, then we'll find something. Okay. I wish you all the best. Thanks
Thank
very
you
much
so
for
much.
coming.
Thank you so
Thanks
much.
very much for watching.
That's
This is DCTP from the Republica 2014. My name is Philipp Banse. You'll find all the videos at dctp.tv and the YouTube channel of DCTP. Yes. Thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned. All the best. Bye.